strict attention to the whistle. Take note of a seasoned enforcer's utter quiet. The U.S. national team recently concluded their FIA World Cup qualifying campaign. However, the players did not make the most shocking disclosure of the entire international competition. It was straight from the referees. Greetings from WNBA Pro again. The delicate, created reality of the WNBA establishment will be completely shattered by what we are about to aggressively disclose. Therefore, I need you to shut the doors, turn off your notifications, and give me your whole clinical focus today. What if I told you that the largest, most well-planned corporate sabotage in professional sports history was just unintentionally revealed by the world governing body of basketball? What if I told you that the objective, mathematically sound officiating we recently saw abroad unequivocally demonstrates that the WNBA referees have been working under a highly political and corrupt mandate to artificially stifle the greatest offensive engine in the history of the game? This particular topic is very terrifying to the mainstream sports networks, the heavily sponsored, spineless journalists, and the deeply compromised executives currently working in the WNBA front office. The obvious, unquestionably obvious double standard that was just revealed to the entire world is something they fervently hope you would overlook. They want you to follow the corporate narrative mindlessly, but you are not a casual fan at all. As a high-level operator, you are well-versed in reading the unfiltered, raw tape. Today, we are not examining a straightforward distinction in officiating styles. We are witnessing a live, worldwide broadcast of a corporate criminal organization run by a terrified, extremely insecure veteran establishment that is frantically holding on to the last, increasingly deteriorating remnants of its own economic significance. Don't allow the phony, well-rehearsed PR remarks to fool you for even a split second. Throughout Caitlin Clark's WNBA debut season, a tremendously poisonous and terribly insulting narrative was forced onto us. She just needed to get used to the physicality of the professional game. We were informed. We were informed that the vicious, blatant fouls, blindside hits, and violent, non-basket physical attacks she experienced every night were all part of the normal course of events. Referees from the WNBA swallowed their whistles. Under the false pretense of allowing them to play, they deliberately and viciously permitted the legacy veterans to physically intimidate, harass, and batter the billion-dollar franchise. Her psychological will was broken, and her enormous commercial value was artificially suppressed by a well-planned, extensively recorded campaign of physical intimidation. However, the FIA World Cup qualifying later took place.
Because the FIBA referees put them on notice. Pretty much let them be known. We ain't doing what y'all would be doing in the WNBA. So, quite frankly, the FIBA referees set the tone for how a game Caitlin Clark playing in should be rep.
I need your cognitive processes to be fully penetrated by that particular paradigm-shifting fact. As of right now, FIA is an impartial worldwide regulatory organization that is totally unaffected by the petty vindictive jealousies of the veteran elite and the poisonous politics of the WNBA locker room. Who having the longest term is irrelevant to the FIA referees. They don't give a damn about the legacy players' fragile egos. They don't give a damn about the WNBA veteran country club's extremely crooked, unwritten rules. Their primary concern is upholding the objective basic rules of basketball. And a really remarkable, statistically indisputable thing happened when Caitlin Clark stepped onto the international hardwood. The physical attacks ceased. The obvious non-basket hits vanished.
Why?
Because the tone was set by the FIA referees in an aggressive manner right away. The illicit interaction was actively punished. The offensive players were shielded by them. They officiated the match with complete, unwavering integrity. And what was the instant, indisputable, disastrous result of eliminating the physical sabotage? Caitlin Clark methodically and easily destroyed the entire competition. She totally crushed the international tournament, capturing the MVP award with a horrifying high-frequency kinetic efficiency that completely revealed the WNBA's crooked officiating mandate. She is the world's most vulnerable and highly leveraged sports commodity when the artificial, politically motivated physical suppression is removed, as the global market has recently demonstrated. The WNBA establishment's mask was inadvertently torn off by the FIA referees, demonstrating the domestic league's deliberate and malevolent suppression of its own CEO. However, the exposure to officiating is just one aspect of the WNBA establishment's unquestionable horror. It permeates the discourse around the recently negotiated collective bargaining agreement, which is incredibly conceited and completely ridiculous. The billionaire ownership group and the players' union achieved a verbal agreement on a historic new CBA in New York City, just as the FIA MVP revelation sent shockwaves through the world's sports market. This was a colossal and unprecedented corporate surrender, and the seasoned leadership raced to the closest microphones to totally take over the story before the ink had even dried on the term sheet. Breanna Stewart's performance on this media tour is a startling, extremely insulting example of cognitive dissonance that perfectly captures the entitlement of the old guard. So we have to talk about her.
Finalized yet, so don't want to get too specific into details, but knowing that this new CBA is going to be historic. It's going to create generational success between players of all levels, and really excited.
Listen to the utter, unrepentant haughtiness that emanated from that particular sentence. Historic success over generations. I want you to evaluate the utter absence of basic business sense in that extremely disrespectful statement. The players who aggressively attempted to stifle Caitlin Clark in the media were the legacy veterans. In front of the international media, the same players who used the WNBA referees to physically abuse her on the court are now haughtily claiming to be the clever financial masterminds behind this new agreement. They are frantically attempting to persuade the paying customers that this significant, unprecedented financial boost was obtained through their aggressive negotiation strategies. It is an indisputable corporate delusion. This historic capital was not created by magic. After operating at a huge financial loss for 30 years, they did not suddenly figure out the recipe for generational prosperity. They are aggressively and blatantly riding the coattails of the most powerful economic and energetic force in sports history. Without contributing a single bit to the executive output, they are seeking enormous executive compensation. However, when they try to claim ownership of the revenue, the sheer, unmitigated arrogance of their public relations lie reaches its absolutely scary pinnacle.
And really be in a space where we're in collaboration with the WNBA. We are now a part of a rev share system, and we are going to see the fruits of our labor in a way that we've never done before.
So that the millionaire network executives lurking at the back of the boardroom can hear it clearly, allow me to reiterate that terrible, indisputable, highly weaponized assertion. We will witness the results of our hard work. I ask you to stop and allow that phrase's pure, unadulterated fantasy to overwhelm you. The results of their hard work. The WNBA used an antiquated, heavily supported business model for almost 30 years. The legacy veterans toiled for years, fighting for meager broadcast revenue and trying to stay relevant in a competitive American sports scene, and the result of their labor was a product that needed ongoing, enormous financial bailouts from the NBA, empty venues, and television ratings that were mathematically inconsequential. Then the state of Iowa sent a generational abnormality. She broke records for collegiate television. Every WNBA arena she entered was sold out. She brutally transformed the league's global appeal, corporate sponsorships, and product sales. By herself, she was able to negotiate a massive multi-billion-dollar media rights deal and force the global television networks to tear up their previous contracts. The Caitlin Clark stimulus plan actively and fully subsidizes the entire financial boom, the increasing wage cap, and the private charter aircraft. Nevertheless, Breanna Stewart and the seasoned establishment have the unwavering courage to stare into a camera and assert that this enormous inflow of international wealth is the result of their hard work. It is a clear-cut attempt at corporate extortion based solely on fabricated, highly distorted, politically motivated storylines. They are trying to take advantage of the enormous amount of money that Caitlin Clark's gravity has created, and they are maintaining a straight face while doing it. But if you thought the delusion could not possibly stretch any further, if you felt the establishment had hit the absolute ceiling of its corporate gaslighting, you are drastically underestimating the utter desperation of a hierarchy that knows its time is swiftly dying, since Breanna Stewart wasn't done. She made the most ludicrous and statistically flawed remark in the history of sports journalism when specifically questioned about the impetus for this enormous new collective bargaining agreement.
Negotiations with the WNBA. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, what we could take from Unrivaled was just the way that players were treated and how we had a standard to make sure that everybody had access to everything that they needed to build their basketball, build their game in a way.
I want you to examine seriously how this particular response is framed in a way that is completely conceited and mathematically impossible. Breanna Stewart strongly asserted that the unparalleled league, her own off-season gimmick project, was the real standard bearer that compelled the WNBA to enhance their standards, looking directly into the eyes of the international media. In real time, she is trying to entirely alter the historical narrative. She is vehemently asserting that the real economic driver behind a multi-billion-dollar CBA is a startup league that utterly failed in the Nielsen ratings and scraped the bottom of the broadcasting barrel, averaging only 120,000 viewers on national television. Do you have the mental capacity to comprehend the degree of egregious corporate fraud necessary for such a statement? She is deliberately disregarding the player who draws 334,000 people for a pointless exhibition game on Thursday afternoon on a minor overflow channel. The billion-dollar point guard who recently won the International MVP award and swept the FIA World Cup qualifications is being totally ignored by her. In order to falsely justify her own enormously inflated ego and her unsuccessful economic endeavor, she is actively attempting to remove the unquestionable mathematical fact of the free market. It's an incredible example of cognitive dissonance. They are afraid to acknowledge the reality. The fact that a 24-year-old is the only unchallenged ruler of their whole financial system has completely paralyzed them. Right now, we have to take this particular, really important discussion to the macroeconomic level. You are completely missing the big multi-billion-dollar worldwide war that is currently being vigorously waged in the background if you are just mindlessly listening to the courteous, highly sanitized sound bits of a podcast interview and applauding the new CBA like a casual, ignorant fan. You have to really comprehend the frightening desperation that is currently emanating from the WNBA establishment. Over gross income sharing, the WNBA Players Union and the wealthy ownership group got into a completely uncompromising bloodbath. The legacy veterans angrily slammed their fists on the mahogany tables, haughtily demanding a sizable portion of the whole economic pie. The billionaire owners, however, were aware of the reality. They witnessed the corrupt physical mandate of the WNBA and the FIBA officiating revelation. The moment the playing field was leveled, they witnessed Caitlin Clark utterly dominate the global arena. They witnessed the utterly disastrous and extremely humiliating viewership figures for the seasoned alternative off-season leagues. The billionaires came to the realization that they had complete control over what they referred to as the players' union's bluff. Despite having no independent market value, the union threatened a major lockout. They would be deliberately destroying the only winning lottery ticket they have ever owned if they shut out the season. The proprietors shoved their chips forcefully toward the middle of the table. The union quickly collapsed and struck a settlement for which they are already frantically attempting to claim credit. However, the millions of highly engaged consumers who actively pay for the pricey tickets, purchase the merchandise, and produce the enormous television ratings that genuinely support the league, as well as the fans watching at home, cannot easily manipulate the free market. They can all clearly observe what is taking place. They witness the obvious, extremely harmful physical sabotage that the WNBA referees permitted. They witness the seasoned leadership obstinately trying to claim credit for a financial boom that they did not initiate. They witness an insecure, entitled old guard continuously marginalizing the best playmaker of this generation. The elite is purposefully eroding the goodwill of the very demographic that pays its enormous incomes by engaging in a very risky and destructive game of corporate chicken with their own fan base. Officially, the international competition is over. The world is now aware of the corrupt physical mandate of the WNBA thanks to the FIA referees. There is a verbal lock-in to the new collective bargaining agreement. The league is poised to undergo a drastic transformation due to the large expansion drafts and free agency periods. The WNBA preseason is coming up soon. Additionally, the training wheels and small-scale domestic politics will be forcibly and completely removed when that season formally begins in May. Caitlin Clark will be fighting more than just the opposition defense when she takes the court in an Indiana Fever uniform. She will be battling a league establishment that was recently exposed on a worldwide scale for repressing her on purpose. She will be using a brand new CBA that she funded all by herself. And she will get the final, unquestionable go-ahead to totally, brutally, and completely destroy the competition without showing the slightest bit of pity, reluctance, or political correctness. The establishment has been frantically attempting to shatter her physical will for the past year. They made use of the refs. They twisted the stories. Additionally, they muted her touches artificially in order to preserve their own brittle sense of relevance. However, a fundamental law of physics cannot be forcibly suppressed. Furthermore, the unquestionable crushing weight of great generational basketball leverage cannot be suppressed. The market has already spoken its opinions. The financial votes of the spectators, sponsors, international voting committees, and large worldwide syndicates have already been heavily cast. They don't give a damn about the legacy veterans' excessively padded, self-centered illusions. Raw, fast, and extremely effective kinetic production is all that matters to them. And Caitlin Clark is the only member of the global board with the mathematical capacity to produce that particular product on a macroeconomic level. Breanna Stewart's recent institutional gaslighting is nothing more than the last, frantic breath of an outmoded hierarchy. Press conferences can be held by the seasoned establishment. They can boast about their new pay with pride. Additionally, they might haughtily take credit for the enormous revenue pie. However, the truth is already permanently inscribed on the wall. The Grow the Game participation trophies' courteous days are long gone. The brutal, hyper-efficient era of total leverage has officially begun. The hostile takeover is mathematically unavoidable, and the old guard's complete, unabated liquidation is drawing near. Greetings from the ultimate meat grinder. I appreciate you coming along to WNBA Pro, where we brutally analyze the unavoidable truth of the sports industry. Here, we don't deal with created narratives or cowardly corporate propaganda. We cope with the harsh reality of the data. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and give this video a huge like if you want the most brutal, insightful, and truthful stuff available online. Tell me in the space provided for comments below. How terrible will Caitlin Clark's scorched earth revenge tour be this upcoming season now that the FIA referees have exposed the WNBA's fraudulent officiating mandate worldwide? I'll see you in the upcoming breakdown. The revolution is only getting started, and the week will be completely left behind, so don't even think about blinking.